Complexity in today's capital markets is a concern for everybody in today's market environment. Shrinking returns, lowered commissions, all play havoc when it comes to complexity in the IT environment. Today, I'm with Scott Claus, partner at Capco, head of the technology practice. Scott, what is your take on complexity in today's capital markets? What are folks trying to achieve to reduce complexity?
Well, Alex, we see a lot of efforts underway right now to achieve, greater simplification across the enterprise. That would consist of getting a handle on their data, for example. Major amount of work on data, real-time data, structured data, unstructured data, and also any kind of application rationalization. But in general, one of the big concerns we see is the availability of thought leaders in the architecture space, people that can bring that high-end thought leadership and understanding the business and the technology to drive these efficiencies out.
You're talking about IT architecture, not building architecture. And when it comes to IT architecture, is it mostly centered around the data challenges? We're seeing Dodd-Frank come into the marketplace where lots of transparency issues are coming to the fore, mixing and matching various data structures, structured and unstructured data. Can architects help in sort of resolving those conflicts?
Absolutely. We are seeing the regulatory pressures, compliance pressures driving a lot of demand around data. And usually that falls right on the intersection of the architects, but not just technical architects. These are technical architects that really understand the business, understands capital markets industry, regulation, etc.
I would think it's pretty hard to find these individuals in today's market. I mean, they must be very high sought out, and they must be pretty expensive resources.
Yeah, they're the good ones know they're very much in demand in the marketplace, and therefore they're very expensive. And therefore it's becoming an issue in the industry to find enough of them to go around. In return, the issue is that they're expensive, right? So how do you get the most out of these high-end architects, the architects that live in the intersection of business and true technology architecture? If
I'm a CIO, CTO, business head, and I know I'm going to be embarking on a major IT sort of improvement and sort of project, where can I find good architects? Are there options out there other than hiring these guys and keeping them on my books all day?
Yeah, I think the traditional model you're talking about is one that people continue to use, but we see that that gets very expensive quickly to bring in the expertise. So there's kind of two models of engaging architects. One is a traditional model where they come in-house and they work for 40, 50 hours a week. One of the other opportunities, though, is a service that we launched at Capco called Architecture as a Service, or think of it as Architects on Demand. And this we reserve for our very top elite architects, the ones that really have the deep industry expertise. They grew up as software engineers. They understand deep technical issues. The ability to engage them as you need them. And the value there is that they bring that real-time outside expertise of what they've seen in the marketplace, those best practices. They bring them to you when you need them, as you need them, so you don't have to engage them full time.
So it's no longer dependent upon the individual institution to hire an army of architects, keep them staffed up. Now there's an option out there that I use them as I need them with an outsourced partner like Capco or somebody else.
You're absolutely correct. It's one of the trends we're seeing is that absolutely we believe that architecture is a competency that our clients should own, but they need to augment that skill with an outside perspective and do it in a way that is convenient to them as they need it.
Doesn't that create a challenge, though, if I'm an institution and I do need architects? If I bring in outside resources like, Architects on Demand, or I go with a consulting firm, how do I develop that skill inside my own organization? Because I know I'm going to need it at some point.
Yeah, and the focus there is that these architects assigned to a client as Architect as a Service, part of their job is to share those best practices and work side by side with the client-side architects, so there is complete knowledge transfer.
Well, Scott, I want to thank you very much for joining us. It really does sound like architecture, especially in today and tomorrow's IT environment, is going to be really important for folks to focus on. And now there are other options out there instead of just sort of hiring an army of architects.
Yes, thank you, Alex.
Thank you.